Call the meeting of the Mill Creek Board of Supervisors, November 24th, 9:30 meeting to order. If you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing too, if you will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Chief.
I regret to inform the citizens of Mill Creek Township that on November 21st, 2015, Captain Randy Fapler of the Mill Creek Township Police Department passed away as a result of a heart attack while at his residence. Captain Fapler, age 53, was a 28-year veteran with our department and is survived by his parents, siblings, wife, 2 children, and 3 grandchildren. Captain Fapler was an accomplished officer with our department, where he worked for most of his career in the patrol division. As he rose through the ranks, Captain Fapler also specialized as a fatal accident investigator, traffic enforcement officer, patrol division commander, and special services commander. He dedicated himself to protecting and serving the public while commonly going above the call of duty, even outside of work, to further assist those in need. Our hearts go out to Randy's family and friends, and we will fondly and proudly remember him as we continue our mission. His contributions will be everlasting, as well as influential in the future of our department. I now ask that all of us observe a moment of silence in memory of Captain Randy Fapler. Thank you. For citizens who would like to pay their respects, viewings will be held today from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. and tonight from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Francis V. Klecker Funeral Home, 2502 Sassafras Street. The funeral mass will take place tomorrow, November 25th at 12 noon at St. Luke Catholic Church, 421 East 38th Street, Erie, PA 16504. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Okay.
If I could, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Thank you, Chief, for your statement and remembrance of Captain Fapler. I had the pleasure of working with Randy for my 22 years here as a supervisor. And before that, when I worked for the township, I knew Randy. When I first took office, we would get statements from the chief of police monthly with the traffic stops that the patrol division was performing, whether it's a warning or a citation. And month after month after month, Randy Fapler was at the top. I finally spoke to the chief one day. I said, "What's up with this Fapler guy? Boy, he's always at the top." I said, "He'd arrest his mother if he had the opportunity." And that's not a shot at Randy. That is, Randy was a very diligent police officer. Anytime you saw someone pulled over at a school zone, chances are that was Randy pulling them over. He was very community-oriented with not only with our police department, but with the MYA and youth hockey and very involved. But although the community was very important to Randy, nothing was more important than his family. At the funeral home last night, a huge crowd, of course, a lot of friends, a lot of family. I had the opportunity to speak with his wife and his children. No matter where the conversation went, whether it was sports or police duties, somehow it always ended up with family. And Randy was one terrific dad.
I'll second that there. Yes, that's so true. Just quickly, I'll say in my experience working with Randy when I worked here in the late 90s, and then also here as a supervisor, I loved hearing his golf stories and his talk about his grandchildren. And he just loved his family, but, you know, really held those grandchildren near and dear to his heart, too. So we will miss him for sure. For those of you who have a copy of the agenda, I'd like to let you know that we are going to be taking something out of order here. Item number 6, we're going to move that down to after item number 13. Okay, so I just want to let everybody know that. I hope there's no problem with that, but we're going to have to do it that way there. So anyway, we'll start off with the approval of, or actually comments on agenda items other than development or rezoning applications. Do we have anything from the audience here? None? Okay, moving on. Approval of the minutes from our last meeting. Any additions or corrections?
I'll move approval of the minutes from November 10th.
And I will second that. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And myself vote yes, too. Approval of the bills for this last period here.
I'll move that we pay the bills.
Okay, and I will second that also. And let's see here, Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes, too. Okay. Next item, number 7, presentation of the 2016 preliminary budget. We'll hand this over to Mark. Do you have a presentation on that?
Okay, there should be copies available. As soon as I find my copy. I got it.
Right.
The proposed revenues for next year are roughly $28.8 million, and proposed expenditures are $31.1 million, with the difference being made up from the expected reserve at the end of the year of $7.7 million. In terms of highlights, capital spending is up. We've been able to achieve that fund balance by delaying capital expenditures, and now we need to make those up.
Okay.
And also, the fund balance is by virtue of the fact we've been fortunate with our experience with the hospitalization insurance.
Okay. We're doing good on that there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Brian, do you have some comments or something?
Just briefly, Mark, I want to thank you for your work on the 2016 budget. I know that you got a hand from Jerry Wolf, came in and helped us out a little bit. We appreciate Jerry's efforts also. As Mark mentioned, we do have a surplus ending 2015. We will have a surplus ending 2016 of around $5 million, right?
5.3.
$5.3 million ending 2016, so that's good news. Mark mentioned that we were able to, or whether it was by choice or not, we delayed some capital expenditures in 2015. One of those was not by choice. It was a major storm sewer project that we're using some federal funding for, and things didn't go as smoothly as we had hoped. So that's a $715,000 expenditure we anticipated in 2015 that will actually take place in 2016. As Mark mentioned, about a $255,000 savings in health care that although we budgeted for 2015, since we are self-insured and didn't have to spend it, that's good news. About $67,000 was spent less than was budgeted for gasoline and diesel fuel, the cost of fuel obviously helping us out there. And about $182,000 was budgeted for streets department capital equipment purchases that was not spent. So that would, as Mark mentioned, translate into we're going to have to spend it in 2016. There is about $2 million worth of capital purchases for 2016. Just going to hit a couple of real quick highlights. 6 police vehicles to the tune of about a little over $200,000. A new truck for the streets department, a new snowplow truck, a new bucket truck for traffic. 2 new traffic signals are budgeted for 2016, one at Route 99 and Golf Club Road, one at Old Zook Road and Zimmerly. Again, those are all dependent upon a traffic study and whether or not those signals will be warranted, but that's about $200,000. And then about $75,000 worth of new equipment for the garage, including a new service truck. And the engineering department has a $200,000 line item for a multi-municipal comp plan update. So there are some big numbers there that add up to about $2 million in capital equipment or capital purchases for 2016. But all in all, as Mark said, I think it's a good budget. No tax increase, which is always a good thing. And we'll have a reserve, a fairly significant reserve at the end of 2016. It's a conservative budget, which we always do. We always budget for worst-case scenarios, and as long as those things don't occur, we are able to end the year with a reserve, which we're fortunate enough to do so in 2015. So again, thank you, Mark.
Yes. And I'd also like to thank Mark and Jerry Wolf for coming in and helping out with this. I know this is Mark's first budget here, and this is good news, and both Jerry and Mark. Just a couple of things here, as many people know, and probably assume that our equipment does wear out, so that's why we have to replace it. That's why you see those expenditures. One thing I'd like to note here too is that, and I see we have some firefighters in the audience here. We've increased the LST contributions to the individual volunteer fire companies by 2%. So it's a little more money to help you guys out in what you do there. So you'll be getting that next year, and 2% that helps out with the fire department. So I just wanted to add that fact in there. So anyway, I think we need a motion to present that or the budget.
Well, it's going to be on display for
It's on display, yeah.
20 days.
To present it, yeah. Okay. We have to approve it. Yeah, we have to approve it on the 22nd of December.
Well, I would move that the preliminary budget be on display until, actually, what's the date?
December 22nd is our next meeting.
Until the meeting of December 22nd, when the budget would be formally approved.
Okay, and I will second that motion there. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay.
We'll also have it on the website.
Website,
It'll also
yes.
be available on the website.
And on weekends, it's available at the police department.
Okay.
Yeah, so we do have it available in many different locations there, so feel free to take a look at it and make comments if you need to. Number 8, I'm sorry, public hearing on land development plan, Temple Anshe Hesed land development plan. Matt Waldinger.
At their November 10th meeting, the Mill Creek Township Planning Commission recommended approval of the land development plan with one request and 2 requirements. The request is for a traffic signal contribution in the amount of $10,000 to go towards a future signal at Old Zook and Zimmerly roads. The requirements were to label the 10-foot green strip and to provide sidewalks along the Zimmerly Road frontage. Last Friday, Township Engineer Rick Morris met the developer's engineer on site to review the conditions along Zimmerly Road. Mr. Morris has determined that installing a sidewalk along Zimmerly is technically infeasible at this time due to a deep PennDOT drainage ditch and the presence of extensive wetlands along the entire frontage. It is the engineering department's recommendation that the sidewalk along Zimmerly still be placed on the Mylar and that the developer request a sidewalk deferral for that portion. This will ensure that if PennDOT ever does any improvements in the right-of-way, such that the existing problems are corrected, the sidewalk shall be installed.
Okay. Okay.
Just so I'm sure of what's going on here, Matt, so the preliminary plan shows sidewalk on Old Zook.
Yes, and they are required to install that.
Okay, but it doesn't show them on,
Doesn't show it on Zimmerly.
Okay,
We'd
so-
like it shown.
you're asking that we have the developer show it on Zimmerly
Correct.
and then ask for a deferral.
That's correct.
Okay.
Gotcha.
For that portion.
Right. Okay.
So that we're clear, so that if he doesn't request the deferral, it'll be putting in the sidewalk.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody here to speak on behalf of Temple Anshe? Mr. Mecklenburg. Please give your name and address, please. Yeah. Please give your name and address.
Bill Mecklenburg, Porter Consulting Engineers, 2702 Zuck Road.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Mecklenburg, anything that you need to let us know about on this plan?
No, we're in agreement
is
with
it-
the
okay.
conditions of approval.
Okay,
All right, with a request for the traffic signal and for the sidewalks. Okay.
okay, okay,
And then you'll be presenting a sidewalk deferral request?
Correct.
okay,
Okay.
okay,
We'll update the plan to show the sidewalk.
okay,
And then ask for the deferral. Good.
okay. Okay, is there anyone else here to speak on behalf of this, either in opposition or in support of it? Okay, Brian? Any comments from you?
I would move approval with the requirements for the green strip, sidewalks along Zimmerly Road, and also for the request for the traffic signal contribution.
Okay, and I will second that there. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, thank you, Bill. Okay, number 9, non-substantial land development plan amendment from Master Mold. Matt?
The developers, Joseph and Isabel Preshak, are requesting a non-substantial land development amendment for an additional 2,720 square feet of asphalt. The original plan was approved in October of 1997. The system has still not been completed to township specifications, so the project was never closed. The developers are now working to repair the deficiencies, and one of those is that there was an additional 20 by approximately 135-foot area that was paved that was not on the original land development plan. This would correct that issue.
Okay, okay. Anybody here to speak on behalf of that application? Hearing none?
I'll move
Sorry.
approval of the land development plan amendment.
Okay, and I'll second that. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, announcement of bids and quotations received for tree removal. Brian?
This is for a tree at 2656 West 23rd Street. Quotes were received from Dibble Tree Service, $2,850, Jake Thomas Tree Service, $1,490, and Jefferson Tree Service, $950. It's Gary Walter's recommendation that Jefferson Tree Service perform that work, and I'll move approval.
Okay, and I'll second that. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, Resolution 2015-R25, a resolution to approve the annual budget for the Erie Area Council of Governments for calendar year ending December 31st, 2016. Mr. McGrath?
This is just an annual action that's required by all the participating municipalities of the Council of Governments, that the individual boards approve the annual budget, in this case 2016, and the COG's annual budget is expected for 2016 to be $75,053, and I will move, I'm sorry, let me correct that. The annual budget for 2016, the proposed budget is for $95,053, and I'll move approval of that.
Okay, and I will second that motion. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Let's see here. Number 12, restricted escrow account agreement. Let's see here. Give me just a second, if you would. I think that,
Matt, is it being tabled?
Yes, well, it's
Yes.
being, yeah, it's being
Okay.
tabled.
Just tell me.
yeah, was that being tabled? Okay. Okay, that item has been tabled until we can get further action on that. Number 13, sewer billing and collection services agreement. This is a agreement with the City of Erie Water Authority. Of course, there's a purchase agreement to purchase the Mill Creek Township Water Authority, and this is something where the city would also be doing our sewer billing. This is the agreement for that, and so it would just be something they would do. Our fees and everything are based on how much we're going to pay them to do that service for us. Brian, do you have any comments or questions about that?
No, Evan, do you have any clarification or any
Well,
further detail?
the fees for the first 2 years are fixed because the Erie City Water Authority has not yet set fees for future years. The fees are the same as they charge other third parties. And the agreement says that the fees in future years would not exceed those charged to other third parties, so
Okay.
that provides some certainty to it. This is being done in anticipation of the closing in December on the sale of authority assets, and I believe it would not be inappropriate if approval of the document was made contingent on the closing on the sale.
Right. Okay.
Yes, in conversation this morning with Dave Sterrett, the Director of our Sewer and Water Authorities, Dave suggested the same, that this agreement for the sewer billing be conditioned on a successful or ultimate closing of the sale of the water assets.
Okay.
And I'll put that condition on the motion to approve the sewer billing and collection service agreement.
And I'll second that with that condition on there, too. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. I'm sorry?
Sorry I'm late. I was relying on the website which said the fourth Tuesday meeting is the evening.
I'm sorry, would you please come up here if you have, so we can hear you, ma'am?
I'm Susan Bassi. I reside at 328 Roslyn Avenue in Mill Creek.
Okay.
I'm a sewer payer. I'm also chair of the Mill Creek Sewer Authority.
Yes.
And we had no idea this was coming in front of the supervisors today. Our liaison, we just had a meeting on Thursday, our monthly meeting.
Okay.
Our liaison, who is Supervisor Fagaski, has not attended since September, so we were totally unaware of any of this going on. The Mill Creek Sewer Authority actually leases the system to the Mill Creek Township supervisors. There is an ordinance 99-8 where, we have given the power to impose, assess, and collect rents to the supervisors. I don't know that that's transferable. We do know that we have a lot going on with the sale of the water authority, since we have employees that work part-time for water, part-time for sewer, and, so there's just a whole lot of balls in the air at this point. And we would request that you delay voting on this until we have a chance to review it as the sewer authority and check with our council and see if, in fact, the supervisors can take that away from us and give it to the city of Erie.
Okay, so you have a differing opinion on this?
And we
Have
had
you-
no notice that this was coming up today.
Okay. Mr. Derry, you have any thoughts on this?
Well, Sue, I don't know what you did and didn't know.
I just told you.
I understand that, but you see, we have no control over what Mr. Sterrett tells you. This is not really a surprise to Mr. Sterrett, who was familiar with the fact that consolidation of billing to save money for ratepayers was in the mix and should be in the mix. They've just approved the agreement. Now, you see, public comment on agenda items is supposed to be made at the beginning of the meeting before they vote. They just voted on it.
Well, I didn't actually hear them call for a vote on that. I heard them call for a vote on amending it to make it subject to
Closing.
the actual sale of the water
Yes,
authority.
it is. Now, first of all, there's a lease agreement, and the sewer authority decades ago leased the system to the township. And under the lease agreement, the township operates and manages the system. There is an agreement between the authority and the township on administrative issues. There's no question. And under that agreement, the sewer authority has handled billing, which has been consolidated the last few years. And obviously, that is affected by this. But then again, there would not be water billing after January 1st if, in fact, the sale goes through. So, I mean, first of all, you assume that the sewer authority can decide who bills. I disagree with you. I disagree with you.
I agree to disagree.
And
But we'd
because,
like a chance to review it, and I don't
well,
see the big
you have a
rush.
chance to review it, but you see, we have a lot of plates in the air as well. And we're supposed to spend a lot of December putting together final details for a closing that should be no surprise to anybody. And the billing is very much has to take effect as of January. So we don't have the time at this late juncture to give you a month to figure out what you want to do.
The sewer billing is separate from the water billing and always has been.
No, it isn't. Well, the sewer
It's a
billing goes,
separate bill.
it goes out on the same bill.
No, it does not. I have a Mill Creek sewer bill.
Not
It's
if you're-
$84 a quarter.
Right, not if you're
Not if you're
Erie
not.
Water
Well,
customer.
granted, if you're that's really a distinction without a difference, because if the water assets are sold, it's the same deal as if you have Mill Creek Water today. You know, you're gonna have a bill for both things if you get water from Mill Creek.
You're correct, that in the future, it'll be one bill, but right now, if you're a Mill Creek Water customer, you receive, or I'm sorry, if you're an Erie Water customer, you receive a separate
I
sewer bill.
understand that. I don't buy into it as a distinction, because if you're selling water assets, you're creating the same situation you're getting a single bill for now.
And if I could, Sue, I did have, and I think John did too, had a discussion with Dave Sterrett, and Dave said that he was very much in favor of this agreement. He said he had gone through it and thought that it was a good agreement, vague enough to make changes to it in the future as we run across things, but a good start, a good initial agreement. And if he, and I'm not throwing Dave on the bus here, but if he didn't share that with you, that's, I mean,
Well, we
would
talked
hope that he
at
would have.
our finance committee meeting, because we're trying to figure out our budget for next year. You know, and what employees, because as it turns out, the sewer authority is actually the employing authority, you know, and who's going to share the legacy costs for the pension of the people that will no longer be being billed to water and all that good stuff. And one of our concerns was that the water bill from the city or the town, or whatever we call it, the Mill Creek, or the Erie Water Authority, always has a $21.04 service fee for billing. And their sewer bills have a $17.04 service fee for billing. Heretofore, we, as Mill Creek Sewer Authority, do not have a service fee on our billing, and we have a flat rate billing of $84 a quarter. So if you add another 17 to each bill, that's almost like a 25% rate increase.
But you're not.
I do not know, because I've seen none of this.
Well,
And you're telling me, from what I did hear in the audience, that it's a 2-year agreement, and then it's...
no, it's not. No, no. I said the fees.
Anyhow, all I'm asking is that you reconsider this, and I personally don't know that, considering ordinance 99-8, that the township really has the power to take that away from the sewer authority and reassign it to somebody else
Okay.
at this time.
Oh, okay. Now, first of all, now that she's mentioned an ordinance that the Board of Supervisors has the authority to enact and amend, not the authority, I got to recommend that you just stick with what you just did. If the agreement is, if the closing doesn't happen, we're back to where we've always been. This agreement doesn't change sewer billing unless water billing is going to be changing too.
That was my condition that I
And I don't think anything changes, and I don't think the sewer authority in a million years has any authority to pass ordinances to regulate the township operations.
No, the township passed the ordinance.
Thank you, I know that.
Yep.
I know that.
Well, thank you for hearing me.
Okay.
And I apologize for my lateness, like I
Okay.
said, I had no knowledge.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Bussey. Okay. Brian, any comment or questions on that? We've already approved it there. Okay.
We voted,
Did
didn't
we
we?
vote on that, Cheryl? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Okay, we got, we're going to move to item number 6 on the agenda, and this is something that is really nice. You see some people out in the audience here, some ladies wearing red coats, and they're part of the Mill Creek, or the Westlake Fire Department Auxiliary, Ladies Auxiliary, and we have them here. Let me come down front here, if you don't mind. We have a young lady in our audience who has celebrated a milestone. I don't have a microphone. Can everybody hear me okay?
You want one?
I don't know, do I need one? I think I'm pretty loud. Some people have told me I'm loud.
Go ahead.
This is Mary Nagel. Please come forward. And you ladies from the auxiliary, would you like to come up forward here too? And the fire department representatives? Hello, Marion, how are you doing? I'm here. We're glad that you're here. Okay, come on, if we turn around, you'd like to have the TV cameras on you there too. Okay, for your son and Tim, how you doing? Good to see you. Good, thanks. Go on here. Okay. Get everybody behind you here. And you probably know what this is about, don't you? No? Okay. Okay. Well, we did something real sneaky, and I apologize for that there, but we wanted to do this for you, okay? We have a proclamation for you. Proclamation by the Mill Creek Board of Supervisors. Whereas Mrs. Marion Nagel was born November 18th, 1915 in Erie County, and is celebrating her 100th birthday, and that was last week, right, on the 18th of November? Is that correct? Okay. Whereas Mrs. Nagel was one of 5 children growing up, she attended the City of Erie schools. Whereas Mrs. Nagel married her loving husband Joseph, and they spent 52 wonderful years together. They were blessed with 3 sons, William, Timothy, and James. She is fortunate to have 8 grandchildren, 10 great-grandchildren, and 3 great-great-grandchildren, and also has an older sister who is 102 years old. Is that correct? Wow, that's great. Whereas Mrs. Nagel, in addition to being a wife and mother, has been active in her church, St. Julia's Roman Catholic Church, along with civic responsibilities, including being a proud and still active member of the Westlake Fire Department Ladies Auxiliary for many years. Thank you for doing that. Past president of the Mill Creek Youth Center and proprietor of the Marion's Next to New Shop. And I remember that when I was a kid, because I remember my mom taking me down there a couple of times. And she still regularly attends a GCAC Senior Center down at West 8th and Raspberry Streets. Whereas Mrs. Nagel has been a blessing to all she has come in contact with over the past 100 years and is joined by friends and family to celebrate this exciting milestone in her life. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Mill Creek Township Supervisors, by virtue of the authority vested in us, do hereby wish Marion Nagel a very happy 100th birthday, and may she continue to share her love and joy with others. Furthermore, we do encourage all fellow residents and family to pay tribute to Mrs. Nagel in honor of her 100th birthday and wish her health and happiness in all her years and days to come. In witness hereof, we have unto the seal of the Township of Mill Creek, Erie County, Pennsylvania, to be affixed the 24th day of November, 2015. And that's issued by the Mill Creek Township Supervisors. So we have a little proclamation here. Excuse me a second. We have that for you, and if you decide you want to frame that, let us know. We'll get you a frame. So, okay, I don't know how you wanted this done. So, anyway, Mrs. Nagel, we wish you a very happy 100th birthday, and thank you for being a really great part of Mill Creek Township and making what Mill Creek is there. Thank you. Okay. That's why we brought you in here. Okay. Okay. Don't blame your son. You can blame me, okay? Okay. So, did you have anything you want to say about...
No, I enjoyed every bit of it.
Okay. Keep on fixing it. Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you, everybody. Okay. Chief Rick has something for you there, too. Yes, okay. Go and sit down there. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Nagel.
It's wonderful to be 100 years old and have an older sister.
Yes, that's great.
Some good genes there.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of meeting Marion back in September at the Westlake Fire Department firefighters dinner, and the chief mentioned the fact there was a gift from the Ladies Auxiliary to the fire department, and that's what the auxiliaries do. They help out with ground support at fire scenes and whatever they can do. They raise money for the fire departments. So for all of the auxiliaries, Westlake, Westridge, Lakeshore, Kearsarge, and Bell Valley, thank you to all those people that are involved. Your service is immeasurable, along with the firefighters that provide the service to the community. So thanks. That's what I've got to say about that. So thanks again. And moving on to communications. Mark, do you have anything? Communications? Brian?
I have a few things. First, request to send newly elected John Morgan, newly elected Supervisor John Morgan, to a Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors class for newly elected officials. This will be held in Cranberry Township. The fee is $60. I don't have the date right here, but I know that it's early in 2016.
Yeah.
And I'll move approval of that.
Okay, and I'll second that.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's 17th of December.
December 17th, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
December
just
17th.
coming up
Yep.
soon there, yeah. Okay.
I'll move approval of that.
Okay, and I'll second that. Brian?
Public comment?
Oh, public comment, I'm sorry, public comment on that. Being none, okay. Brian?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Have from Ashley Marsteller, our Director of Parks and Recreation, a very long list for, this is for the winter season employees, and this list is available either in Parks and Rec or in the administrative offices, and I'll move approval of that list of winter employees.
Okay, and I'll second that. Public comment? Being none, Brian?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Are you going to do the police one, John?
Yeah, I'll do the police one. Okay.
I have from Gary Snyder, Operations Superintendent in the Sewer Department, a request to send Dan Olet to Pittsburgh on November 25th, tomorrow, to have our mainline camera repaired. This will be a one-day trip, and Dan will be taking the camera truck for transportation, and I'll move approval of that.
Okay, and I'll second that. Public comment? Being none, Brian?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
And finally, a request from Harbor Creek Township Sewer Authority to utilize the services of John Belos and Dan Olet and our I&I equipment to do inspections in the Harbor Creek area, this time of about 20 homes. This has been an ongoing service that we have provided to Harbor Creek Township and their sewer authority for a couple of years now. It's been very successful here in Mill Creek Township. It's been successful in Harbor Creek as well, and I'll move approval of permitting Dan and John to again go to Harbor Creek to provide that service for them.
Right, yeah, and I'll second that. Public comment? Okay. Okay. I just have one quick comment about it. This is one of the examples of where municipalities work together in solving a common problem with in the I&I program, making sure that the water is going into the sewers are the correct discharge that are going into it, that we're going to have those problems, so.
Taking clean water out of the system.
Right,
Yep.
that's right, so.
Well, I do have a motion and
Yes,
and a
okay.
second, but just a quick comment. We also heard from the Harbor Creek supervisors who are appreciative of those efforts, so
Yes.
I'd like to pass that along.
Okay. Brian, that's a
Yes.
motion? Okay, I'll second that. Public comment? I think that may have asked that for that already. Okay. Brian?
Yes,
And I vote yes.
and that's all I have.
Okay, I've got several of them here. I'm taking some of these that Rick would have had. Mill Creek Police Department, this comes from the chief, Mike Tesor. Dear sir, I respectfully request the following be approved at today's meeting. Number one, permission for Corporal Scott Leone, Corporal Wayne Forcier, and Corporal Chris Halbert to attend the Glock Armor course at Mercyhurst University Northeast on March 15th, 2016, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. This is a one-day class which officers are instructed in the repair and maintenance of Glock handguns. Since most of our officers now carry Glock as their duty weapons, this training should expedite the process and minimize the cost for the needed fixes. The registration is $250 per officer, with no overtime or other expense will be required. I'll make that as a motion.
I'll second it.
And any public comment on that? Being none, Brian?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Number two, the chief is requesting permission for Lieutenant Tim Beveridge and Patrolman Nathan Spiker to attend and assist training at Safe Harbor Behavioral Health, 2560 West 12th Street in Erie, on December the 10th and 11th, from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. This class focuses on officer tactics when encountering and interacting with suicidal persons. No costs are associated with this training, and no overtime or travel will be incurred. I make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Any public comment? Being none. Okay, Brian?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, we have the building report, the construction report for the month of October. Not much happening. We had a total of $1.39 million of construction value between residential and commercial. These reports are available online. I think later this week they'll be on it, if they're not on there already. If you want a paper copy, go up to the zoning department and they'll provide you with one. And let's see here, got a couple of little things here to talk about. Actually, this is a big thing. As you've noticed out in our lobby, we have the Giving Tree. This has been an annual event for probably 20 years or more. We have some names out there. There's envelopes. There's 77 envelopes out there of families that need some help at Christmas time for their children. There's a total of 96 children in those 77 envelopes. As always, the residents of Mill Creek have been very generous in helping out with this, and hopefully that will happen again this year. I can count on it. I know I take one, and I think everybody here does take one. The employees get involved, but this is also for the public too, and the public has been very supportive of it, so please do that. If you do take one, the Christmas gifts are asked to be back here by December 14th. And if you will get that to the attention of Londa Cirillo, who is up in the Parks Department. She's a secretary in that department, and she'll handle it from there. If you have any questions, you can always call her in the Parks Department. At this time, I'd also like to give a big thanks to Gail Jarris, who handled this for 13 years here at the township in handling it. And it's quite an ominous task, but it's very rewarding, and she's decided to hand the reins over to Londa, and Londa will take care of this, hopefully for as many years too. So anyway, please do that if you would. And then, let's see here, finally, this is a reminder to the public. There's a burning ordinance here in Mill Creek Township. You're not allowed to burn, okay, other than recreational fires. There was a structure fire last week in northwest Mill Creek. Garage was lost due to burning leaves that extended over to the garage, and I guess the garage was a total loss. We do have an ordinance in effect here that prohibits open burning like that. So please do not burn. If you have a question, please get a hold of the Mill Creek Police Department, or get a hold of Fire Code official Matt Exley here at the Township Building, and they will fill you in on the details of that. But please, don't burn outside. And that's all I have. Citizens to be heard. Do we have any citizens to be heard? Okay. Oh.
Art Gilder, 6026 Marine Drive, Mill Creek.
Okay.
Just one quick question on the
Yes, sir.
traffic study
Yep.
at Edinburgh and Golf Club Road.
Yes.
Who will be doing that, Township or PennDOT?
The study itself would be done by a third party. Typically, an engineering firm does the study. Then they report back. We would have to commission the study.
I
Yeah.
hope they will take into consideration the proposed development at Edinburgh and Hershey Road.
Always.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's
all-
usually for I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it usually for a 20-year build-out?
Future.
For any study would anticipate building for 20 years.
Okay, very
Okay.
good, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Art. Okay, there was a hand back there, yes. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Morning, Diane Thompson, 417 Zephyr.
Yes.
Mr. Grove?
Yes, Diane, how you doing there?
Not too bad. Unfortunately, a few other people, there was a conflict. They thought this was a night meeting, so they're not here.
Oh,
So
okay.
Concerning the parking on Montpelier Hill.
Right, yes.
And believe me, I've taken a lot of pictures.
Mm-hmm.
The big problem is that their parking lot is all mudded 1/3 of the way back. They have plenty of parking, the brewery,
Yeah.
for like 100 parking places. But they're not being utilized because they have, I'm gonna call it bank gravel in the back. It's not the good stuff or
Yes.
anything. And it's all mud when it rains or anything. So
Yeah.
we're not trying to hinder them. I mean, we've
Right.
all been up there for lunch and dinner and
Oh, yeah.
and the whole bit. But when they park on, the signs have always been on the one side.
Yeah.
I believe Mr. McCraft, you used to live on the other side. So
Right
you're
behind the brewery.
You're familiar with the problem when somebody parks, because they park right in the one lane.
Right.
And you either have to back up or down. Now, the snow plow, and God bless the people that do down there, because there's cars all over, and they do a fantastic job down there. But, and the kids walk abreast, they walk across. So it's very hard when anybody parks on the hill.
Yeah.
So we would like the signs on the other side also, and we're
Okay.
only talking about 6 parking places on the hill, I'm gonna assume.
Okay,
And we're not hindering them at all, because they're hindering themselves. Their lighting is not very good out back.
yeah,
They have lights on the building which doesn't show 1/3 of the back of the parking lot, and none of the back is paved. if they would, and that's a big expense, I understand it, but they're not utilizing what they have, and we
Okay.
shouldn't have to suffer over that for 6
Okay.
places.
Right.
We've
Yes,
discussed this
in
at
detail.
length already.
Oh, God, yeah.
As you know, John lives down there, I used to live down
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yes. It's an issue, and the direction that we'd like to go is have a meeting with the owners to discuss the parking problems. Before we start posting things for no parking, we want to find out just where those cars are going to go. There's already been some incidents along Westlake Road where cars are parking in the bike path on
And
Westlake
there's
Road.
plenty, they're not utilized, if you go down, and I tried to take pictures, but it doesn't work good at night
Yeah.
with my phone. But their parking lot has room for another 30 or 40 cars, but they don't want to park there because it's all mud and gravel.
Right.
So all we're saying is that,
Okay.
and one of the gentlemen wanted to get up a petition, and
Yeah.
we said, why until we know you've been addressing it.
Oh, yes, yeah.
We have pictures, our traffic department's
Yeah.
been down there, they've
Right,
been
and I know that.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
we just, and they utilize the parking from,
The
at
plaza
night.
across the street.
Yeah, but, so that it's not that we're hindering them, we're talking about 6 parking places, and they're hindering, they even put a fence up back, which took away a lot of the parking in the back. So they're hindering themselves really by not paving a little bit of it or putting in good stones.
Okay,
But we really do need both sides,
yeah.
because especially with winter coming, I can't, you gotta try to back down the hill, and it's a dangerous situation.
Well,
Right.
unfortunately for the owners of the property and those who want to patronize it, Mill Creek does have an ordinance that you're not allowed to park anywhere on the street in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So that's going to create a real problem for them.
Yeah,
So we're
and,
gonna have
you
to
know
meet
what, with all due respect, it's never been enforced in any of the neighborhoods.
Oh, boy, I would beg to differ with you on
Well,
that.
it hasn't in our neighborhood, and the plow driver is fantastic, he goes
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
or he'll honk the horn and wait till somebody comes out, I mean, they're very accommodating.
Yeah.
But just please, could you put,
Right.
you
Yeah.
so there's no parking on the hill, we appreciate it.
I will show you, your concerns are not going on deaf ears. We are very aware of that there,
Yeah, and
and
then
taking
the-
steps to see what we can do.
There was a big confusion on when they put arrows up, I mean, we're trying to tell everybody, no, that doesn't mean there's no parking on both sides.
Yeah.
But a lot of people thought it did, so we liked the arrows
Yeah.
up there.
Well, okay, there are questions about it. Thank you, Mrs. Thompson.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else, citizens to be heard? Being none, call for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay, I second that at 10:18. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
You're watching the Mill Creek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.